Okay, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of DSA Python. And today we will be talking about the well-known question, that is three sum. Okay, one of the most important question which you will, every time your interviewer will be asking. Okay, and it's it's the most loved question of various product-based companies, such as Google, Microsoft, and Uber, and Adobe, and various many others. Okay, so let's start. So this is day 21 of 200 days DSA Python series, and we are here for. It's not a class, and it's not a kind of lecture, but I would say it's basically a discussion which we will be doing together. Okay, uh, I would encourage all of you to participate more and more, and uh, so that we get most out of this session. And we will start with brute force, and we will ultimately go to the uh, most optimal solution. Okay, so that is the idea, guys. uh, so yeah, if I talk about this, so what is the first thing which is coming to my mind? Let's discuss the question first. Given an integer array nums, return all triplets. So we actually have to return the numbers which are adding up to that particular sum. Previously in two sum, what we did was we needed to return the index of the numbers, right? So that was pretty easier. We actually used hash map, and we found that number, which was the difference. I mean, target minus the nums of I, and we tried to find out that number in the hash map. And once that number was found, it was picked up, and the indexes were returned, right? So that was as simple as that. That was two sum. Three sum. Let's start with the extreme brute force approach. So you will have all the three indexes, nums of I, nums of j, and nums of k, right? And we have this I not equal to j not equal to k. So I'll just say I simply assume all the three for loops. Okay, it will be 0 to n. Okay, I'll tell you whether it will be n or lesser than n. What? Okay, for j in range 0 to n, and for int k in range 0 n. Okay. Now what will be my n? If I say let's start with the initial. Okay, if my I take -1, then my j will be 0, and my minimum k will be this, right? Okay, and in the end, when its iteration is almost done, if these are three of my numbers, then uh, my k will be -4. It means that it's reaching up to the last number. Okay, so this is correct, but it is starting from, let's say my j is here, so j plus 1. Okay, so it's starting from j plus 1, right? What about j? It is starting from I plus 1, right? And it is reaching up to the second last number, that is n minus 1, right? So it will be n minus 1, and here it will be n minus 2. It reaches up to last, right? Now Okay, so I'll just say, mm, so I'll just say simple. I'll put the sum. So result, I'll say if nums of I plus nums of j plus nums of k is equal to 0. Okay, I want this 0. All right. So result dot append result dot append all these. Okay. And in the end, I'll just return result. Okay. So I'll just for okay. So I'll just define my n. N is equal to len nums. Okay. And result also. Okay. Result is equal to a list. Okay. So I'll just say append this. So this is now an argument. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see this is a repetition. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just assume one my set is equal to okay, my set is equal to set. Okay. And what I'll do, I'll try to append in this my set dot add, and I think I just need to have a tuple that will be sorted. So tuple sorted in this. Okay. My set for a return. I just need to return a list. list x for x in my set. Yes, now you can see what I did. I just converted the tuple with sorted nums I, nums j, nums k, and I just returned a list. uh, okay, so this is basically a tuple, right? So it's been converted into tuple. Now I have converted this into a list and returned it, right? So this is my extreme brute force approach. If I submit it, I might get a TLE error, right? So because there are three for loops, okay, time limit exceeded, right? So you can see here, if you have these kind of number, okay, then you might encounter this TLE error. Okay, why getting TLE error? Because just look at the time complexity. Okay, so time complexity here, order of n, here also order of n, here also order of n. So total time complexity becomes order of n cube. Okay, that's the problem. Order of n cube. Okay, I should get, so I should be getting, this is a TL error, right? Time limit exceeded. Why I'm getting? Because I have these three nested for loop. So three nested for loop ultimately gives the time complexity of O of n cube. And if you talk about this constraint, then you have this length of numbers. So if you consider this 3000 as the uh, worst case scenario, then 3000 to the power 3 will ultimately give in the range of 10 to the power 9. Okay, 27 into 10 to the power 9, which is greater than 10 to the power 8 operations, which is required for not getting TLE error. Okay, so that is the number of operation and time complexity which is becoming 27 into 10 to the power 9, which is greater than 10 to the power 8. That is why we are getting this TLE error, because system wants us to reduce this time complexity to a lesser number, which should be lesser than 10 to the power 8. So what do we have to do next? In some way I have to reduce its time complexity to O of n square at least. Okay, because see, this is a threesome. I don't know whether I can. It's very impossible. It's totally impossible to get a time complexity of order of n, because you have to traverse for at least two for loops. Okay, even if you start with putting the hash map, you at least will be requiring two for loops. Okay, the other one will be a hash map. Okay, so that's the reason why we are getting this TL error. So what is the next possible scenario? So I'll just put this in the comment. So let us think on those lines. How can we get a time complexity of order of n square? How do we get? Okay. So first of all, let's write the for loop first. Okay, and we will try to create a hash map. Okay, and that hash map will be, you know that hash map we will keep for putting all the numbers in that hash map. And what we will do, we will try to get that difference amount in the hash map so that we get the answer. Okay, so let's try out that for I in range 0 to n. Okay, up to n minus 1. Okay, for j in range I plus 1 to n. Okay, now what is my number 3? Okay, let's assume this num 3, that is equal to uh, 0 of sorry 0 minus. Okay, let's do put this on the right hand side. I want to find out my nums of k, that is my num 3. Okay, so what I'll do, it I'll put nums of I and nums of j on the right hand side. Okay, so what I'll get, minus of, because 0 minus any number is minus of nums of I plus nums of j, right? Now I'll try to find this number in that hash map. So let me first create a hash map also. Can I create a hash map separately? Just, uh, how do I create a hash map? So also I can ask if num3 in my set. My set. Okay, let's consider that this my set. Okay, if num3 in my set, then uh, I'll just I'll just try to append these numbers in a separate, say, result. Okay, can I do that? Should I do that? So what do I append in result? Result dot append nums of I, comma nums of j, comma num3. Okay, this will I'll append. Else what it will uh, drop if num3 in my set. Can I do like this? I'll just say for I in range 0 to n, and I'll just uh, put these numbers in the hash map. So my set, sorry, my set of nums of I is equal to, uh, we can consider any number. Let's say I'll consider it as 0. So return result because I'm trying to find this num3 in this number, and num3 is my minus of nums of I plus nums of j, and this I have already created. Okay, so I think my logic is correct. It should return something. Set object does not. Okay, is equal to, let's do I. Should I use a dictionary? Let me just use a dictionary. Is equal to 0. This will become my key value pair. Dict object is not callable. Set. So how do I? Or we can do my set dot add nouns of I. This also I can do if it is set. Cannot use list as set element also. So what I'll do is I'll convert this into tuple, and Can I do like this? My set is equal to set of nums, so that whatever is numbers converted to set. Then if I'm doing my set, result dot append, and then return result. But it is a tuple. Simply I'll do result dot and tuple sorted. That object is not callable. My set. So result output is equal to so so result dot add. Now this is my, so now here I'll call as list only. No, I'll just call a list. uh, List for x in my set, right? Okay, output is equal to set result, not result, it should be output. In output. That's something I'm getting. But this 2 is getting repeated. This I don't want. I don't want this. So this will also give, see, we have tried for this solution, but this is giving me the repeated solution because my input does not contain two times. Okay, but here it is considering two times because different i's are coming from different for loop, right? My j is also giving some number 2 and my I is also giving, so that it is taking. Okay, so this method is not correct. Okay, this method is failed. Okay, now what can be the last method? What can be the last method which we can uh, work on? What if I take I do the sorting first, and I'll fix one number I in the initial, and I'll just jumble J and K. So basically, I'll be using three pointers. One will be fixed, and I'll do juggling in two pointers. That can be the idea. Okay. So guys, this method I'll be taking up in the next class, right? So keep following for more and more such questions and updates on DSA. Okay. Keep practicing, guys, because practicing only will make you perfect. Okay. So that's it for today. Bye bye and take care.